Welcome to Betrayal Stories. In today's video, we dive into a story that began on a week so exhausting, so stretched to the limit that even my bones felt tired. You know those weeks, the kind where everything seems to pile on at once until you feel like your mind is sprinting with no chance of slowing down. That was exactly the kind of week I had just survived. Deadlines that multiplied the moment I cleared one. Emails that seemed to refill faster than I could read them. Work calls that bled into personal time. Errands that refused to wait. And the constant buzzing background noise of modern life that rarely gives you a moment to just breathe. By the time Friday evening rolled around, I was functioning on fumes, sipping on the last thread of patience I had left. My name is Rachel, and all I wanted that night was something simple: silence. Rest, the chance to switch off the world for just a few hours and pretend I wasn't drowning in a never-ending to-do list. But in our home, Fridays weren't just Fridays. They were sacred. They were movie nights, something my son Ethan and I had preserved like a fragile treasure ever since his father David passed away 3 years earlier. Even now, years later, our small tradition remained untouched. It was the one night each week when everything slowed down, where we paused the chaos and existed in a little bubble that belonged only to the two of us. When I walked through the door that evening, the unmistakable smell of buttery microwave popcorn greeted me like a warm hug. Somehow that scent alone could pull me out of even the worst moods. Ethan, 16 years old, tall, lanky, with hair that was forever falling into his eyes, was already sprawled across the couch like it was his personal kingdom. His hoodie was pulled halfway over his head, and he had that mischievous smirk on his face that always reminded me of David. He pointed the remote at the TV. Without looking away from me, "Perfect timing, Mom. You made it before the previews." The familiar red Netflix logo flashed across the screen, and I let out a soft laugh. Ethan had so much of David's sense of humor, dry, sarcastic, effortlessly timed. But he had my eyes. Those soft gray eyes that always seemed to carry a story behind them. Eyes that saw more than they said. Ever since David's passing, I had watched a subtle shift in him. He had become quieter, more introspective. He didn't talk much about his dad, and whenever the topic surfaced, his words would fade into silence, leaving behind something heavy in the space between us. That night, he chose one of those psychological thrillers. He loved the kind where the plot twists so often that you start questioning your own reality. We settled in, wrapped in blankets, sharing popcorn, letting the tension of the movie slowly drown out the tension of the week. We were about halfway in when the lights flickered. Once, twice. Then everything went dark. The TV cut off. The hum of electricity vanished. Darkness swallowed the room, leaving only the sound of rain tapping steadily against the windows, like quiet fingers knocking to be let in. I groaned. Seriously? Again. Ethan chuckled in the dark. "This house needs a total reboot, Mom." I laughed despite myself. "Hey, watch your mouth. This house raised you." He grinned, even though I could barely see it. "Touché." I fumbled for my phone, switching on the flashlight. "Want me to check the fuse box?" "Nah," he said, waving me off. "Let's just wait. Power usually comes back." So we stayed there in the dark. The two of us wrapped in blankets with nothing but rain and the faint smell of popcorn lingering between us. At first, we didn't say much. Silence wasn't rare between us. It was comfortable, familiar. But tonight, something about the quiet felt different. Like the darkness had opened a door neither of us knew needed opening. It started with small talk. School, teachers, friends, the kind of things he rarely elaborated on unless something was wrong. He rolled his eyes dramatically while complaining about his math teacher, who he was convinced had a personal vendetta against him. I laughed. Then something shifted. His voice softened, slowed, deepened. He started talking about things he never talked about. Milestones. His dad was missing learning to drive, graduating next year. Dumb things like arguing about chores or fixing the old lawnmower David used to constantly tinker with on weekends. Then he fell quiet. A long, heavy pause. The kind of silence that sits in your chest. When he finally spoke again, his voice was low. "Mom, do you ever think he'd be proud of me?" The question hit me in a place deeper than I expected. I turned toward him even though most of his face was hidden in shadow. Ethan, he'd be proud of you every single day. Your dad adored you, and I adore you. You have no idea how proud we both are. He nodded slightly, his eyes glistening faintly in the dim light of my phone. Before I could say anything else, the lights blinked back on. The movie resumed automatically, but I wasn't paying attention anymore. Something had changed in the room. Something important. As the story on the TV twisted into a new secret, I noticed Ethan stiffen. The plot had revealed that the main character, a teenage boy, had just discovered he was adopted. Ethan's eyes locked on the screen with a strange intensity. After a few seconds, he grabbed the remote and hit pause. The sudden silence made my heart drop. "What's wrong?" I asked carefully. He didn't look angry. He didn't look upset. Just searching. Like he was digging for something inside me. "Mom," he said softly, "have you ever kept something from me?" My chest tightened. That single question felt like a door creaking open, revealing a room I had sealed away long ago. "What do you mean?" I asked. My voice sounded calm, but inside I was anything but. He hesitated, then said something that made my entire body go still. "Last week, I found something in the attic." My stomach dropped. "What did you find? Old letters?" he said. "Dressed to you. It's from someone named Michael." They mentioned a baby. Me. My fingertips went cold. Michael. A name I had buried 16 years ago, locked behind memories I never planned to revisit. I had convinced myself that chapter would never see daylight again. But here it was, rising from the shadows like a ghost. I swallowed hard, Ethan. My voice quivered. I was going to tell you someday. I just didn't know when. Or how. He leaned forward. "Tell me what?" His eyes, those soft gray eyes that weren't biologically mine, but had always felt like home, looked at me with a mixture of fear, curiosity, and hope. And so I took a breath that felt like it tore me open. "You're adopted," I whispered, "but not in the way you think." His eyebrows pulled together. "So, you're not my mom?" The question shattered something inside me. "Ethan," I said quickly, reaching for his hands. "I am your mom. Maybe not by blood, but by choice, by commitment, by every heartbeat that has ever loved you. I am your mom in every way that counts." His breath shook. "Then, what's the real story?" I closed my eyes, gathering the courage I had run from for so long. 16 years ago, you were left at a hospital, alone, just a few hours old. I was volunteering there that day. And when I saw you, my voice cracked. "Ethan, I don't know how to explain it. I just held you." And something inside me whispered, "Don't let go." His lips parted, his expression unreadable. "Did Dad know?" "Yes," I said instantly. "David knew everything. We signed every paper together. We both chose you. We both wanted you. We both loved you from the moment we saw you." He stared at me for a long moment, the quiet ticking of the clock filling the tension between us. When he finally spoke, his voice was small. "So, my biological parents." I hesitated, my heart aching. "The letters you found," I said gently, "they were written by your biological father. His name was Michael. He left them at the hospital with a small box of keepsakes." Ethan's face paled. "Why would he leave me?" I reached slowly beside the couch and retrieved a small wooden box I had kept hidden for years, worn edges, faint carvings, and memories sealed beneath its lid. I handed it to him. "He didn't leave you because he didn't want you," I whispered. "He left you because he didn't have a choice." Ethan's hands trembled as he opened the box. Inside were letters, a thin silver bracelet, and a single faded photograph. A young man in an army uniform holding a newborn. Ethan stared at the picture for a long time. "He looks like me," he murmured. "Yes," I said softly. "He does." Ethan swallowed hard. "What happened to him?" I took a slow breath. "He passed away a week after you were born. He was only 22. He had no family left. But he left those letters hoping someone kind would find his son and love him." Tears filled Ethan's eyes before he could stop them. He tried to wipe them away, but they kept coming. I wrapped my arms around him. For the first time in years, he didn't pull away. He sank into my embrace, letting himself be small, vulnerable, broken like he used to when he was little and afraid of thunderstorms. Hours passed. The movie ended. The credits rolled. The rain slowed into a gentle drizzle outside, but none of that mattered. That night had changed us. Later, Ethan knocked on my bedroom door, holding the wooden box. "Mom," he said quietly, "can we read them together?" I nodded, patting the spot on the bed beside me. Of course. We sat cross-legged with blankets draped around us, popcorn bowls half empty on the floor. One by one, he unfolded the letters from his biological father. Some were just a few sentences words written by a scared young man facing a future he wouldn't live to see. Others were long, filled with dreams for a son he loved but couldn't keep. Ethan read them all, sometimes smiling, sometimes crying. There was one letter that read, "If anyone ever finds my boy, tell him I love him more than I love my own life. I hope he grows up kind. I hope he laughs like his mother." Ethan paused after that line, his voice cracking. "My mom, my real mom. Did you know her?" I shook my head gently. "She didn't survive childbirth. I never met her. But from the way Michael described her, she was brave, strong, someone who loved you deeply even before she met you." Dawn crept through the curtains by the time we finished the last letter. Ethan carefully placed everything back into the box, his hands steady now. He looked at me, tears still clinging to his lashes. "Thank you," he whispered, "for choosing me." My heart broke and healed all at once. I cupped his face. "No, sweetheart. Thank you for making me a mother." The next morning, we packed a small bag. One of Michael's letters mentioned the cemetery near his childhood home. Ethan wanted to go, so we went. The drive was quiet, peaceful, lined with tall oak trees and leaves drifting gently in the breeze. When we arrived, Ethan chose a single white lily, simple, pure. We found the grave easily. Just his name and 2 lines. He lived with love. He left with hope. Ethan knelt, placing the lily gently at the base of the stone. He stayed there for a long time, his shoulders rising and falling with deep, steady breaths. When he finally stood, he asked softly, "Do you think he knows?" I smiled. I think he always did. That night, back home, while I was cleaning the living room, Ethan approached me quietly. "Mom," he said, "same time next Friday." I turned to him. "Movie night." He nodded, and I laughed softly. Of course, but we both knew it would never just be movie night again. It was now the night we opened the past. The night truth replaced silence. The night a boy found his story. And the night I realized that love real love'sn't written in DNA. It's written in choices, in sacrifice. In moments like these, if you made it to the end of this story, thank you for watching. This is a reminder that sometimes the family we choose becomes even stronger than the family we're born into. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in love, forgiveness, and second chances. Until next time, take care of your heart. I'll see you in the next one.